moving on.
Let's talk about boxing.
There's a few decent little boxing.
Let's move on
points.
from the up and coming promotion, which is Power Slap, to the dying promotions of boxing.
Just before we get into the cards, though, I want to counteract your statement there with Saudi Arabia and the money that area has, and all these different people who are willing to invest in boxing, random fight like events. Not like I really think that is going to save boxing. Boxing needs money so that promoters can just like drop their little shtick of trying to get the most money out of either side. Saudi Arabia comes in with infinite money and just pays them both equally, and now we're starting to see fights that we actually want to see.
Are we though?
Usyk versus Fury.
Oh, okay, yeah,
Finally.
we've got that. That's good.
We've got Wilder versus Parker, which is a
No
good
one
fight.
asked for that.
But I thought the same at the start. This is building up. They're going to put those two together, and as long as AJ and Wilder win, they'll then fight. Wow, it is.
Will they though?
It is pretty dumb.
Will they fight? But the thing that will save boxing is when there is a clear road to success. Do you know what I mean? There isn't one of those at the moment. In boxing, at the moment, you need there's how many belts are there for one? That's one thing I've never understood.
Yeah, about 6 proper international belts per division.
Yeah. So that's
the national
one
ones.
weird thing. Like, there's so many different world champions, and none of them have fought. Like, it seems like none of them. When you get to the top in boxing, you don't fight the top. You know what I mean?
No, it works completely different though. That's like the weird thing about boxing is they give you mandatory contenders, and if you don't fight the mandatories, you get stripped of your belt. So with the UFC, they just pick whoever they want to fight for the belt. Usually it's the deserving guy. Sometimes it isn't. They get to fight. But in boxing, if you've got, say, the WBC and the WBO belt, you have to pick off the mandatory contenders within a certain frame of time, or they'll strip you of your belt. So that's what makes it, first of all, kind of hard to make the fights that everyone wants to see. And then on top of that, you've got promoters that are unwilling to risk their cash cow against another guy who is really good, because the zero, the
On the record,
the record is so important in boxing, which it isn't in the UFC.
And MMA in general.
In MMA. So yeah, you never end up seeing the fights you actually want to see. It's always like nobodies who are good boxers, but yeah, it is a shit show. I mean, we've got some good fights coming. I am excited about Wilder versus Parker. I think that's going to be a good card.
Yeah.
A good fight.
No, I agree with you. I think it's going to be a good fight, but yeah, like we said, no.
Just not the one you want to see.
No. I want to see Parker get it done.
Yeah, same. I'd love to.
Like, obviously being from New Zealand, that's one motivation. But the other thing too is he's got so close on a number of occasions to getting to the very top, in terms of breaking through that wall and being a household name in boxing, He's still a little bit off that, Joseph Parker.
Yeah. No,
and I think a win against Wilder would really cement that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if he loses to Wilder, really, what is next? He's kind of been knocking on the door of the top few guys in the heavyweight division for a good few years now, and he's never really managed to get through. So,
I mean, he was champ for a while. I think he had the WBO belt, and then he obviously lost that to Joshua. But yeah, he was never like a big name.
No.
We knew him because he was Kiwi, and the boxing hardcores definitely do.
Yeah.
But not in the same way that people know who Anthony Joshua is, Tyson Fury, Deontay Wilder.
That's right.
Anthony Ruiz. Like these top guys. But he is right there. I mean, losses to the likes of who did he Dillian White definitely didn't help him. Losses to the likes of who did he lose to recently? He lost recently by a knockout pretty convincingly, maybe like a year ago.
Did he?
He did.
He also knocked someone out recently too.
But that was the guy he knocked out, wasn't
it?
Yeah. Let's have a look at Joseph Parker. And I mean, Wilder speaks for himself, right? He is what he is. He's a great boxer. He's got some absolutely ridiculously insane power.
33-3 for Joseph Parker.
He lost to Joe Joyce
Oh,
who
that's
don't
right.
get me wrong, Joe Joyce is no slouch.
Oh no.
He's a really good boxer. Unfortunately, he lost twice recently. But yeah, losses to the likes of Joyce when it really mattered. A really close fight with Derek Chisora, who's ancient and not at the top of his game anymore. Like losses to Dillian White, Anthony Joshua. It doesn't help his stake for really knocking on the front door of being one of the top guys. He's a cool guy though.
Is he? Another one of these guys
Yeah,
that you know personally.
Yeah, I know. He almost got busted for like importing meth into the country.
Yeah, I don't know if we wanted. Yeah,
Should we not talk about that? Is that a bit dodgy?
There's so many unanswered questions with that whole thing. It just
Yeah, well, he continued boxing.
yeah,
So
because nothing ever got proved. That's a dicey one. I don't want
maybe we won't.
I don't want to
that.
go taint his name, but
Yeah, especially one of the friends of the show.
yeah, that's right.
One of the people I know personally. Yeah, but good fight. I really don't see Parker winning. I'm sorry, Parker. Like he's a great boxer, but Wilder just has that one punch knockout power. Maybe Parker can bring it into the later rounds, win most of the rounds, and still get knocked out. Like it's, if I had to pick, I'd say 90% Wilder. Parker might win a decision. I don't see him knocking him out.
Yeah, the only way he gets it done is by decision
right?
For Joseph Parker, yeah.
But he's going to get hit at some point, and when Wilder hits you, you go to sleep usually. So I just don't see him winning. I think probably an early finish for Wilder in this one, maybe round 3. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think the longer it goes on, the more I fancy Joseph Parker, but not incredibly. So yeah, I think Wilder in under 5.
Yeah, so do I. I think the same. And like, but the thing is, Wilder's power carries over 12 rounds. So
it does, but he does gas.
He gets slower.
He gets slower, and his movements are sloppy. Yeah, so
like when he knocked out Ortiz, he knocked him out in the 10th round of their second fight, I think, or maybe it was their first fight. Ortiz was basically winning the fight. He had some really good moments, and then Wilder just obliterated him with an extremely powerful right hand that he couldn't get up from. And he's a scary guy, man.
Yeah, he is.
He's a really scary guy.
He's going to be fighting Nate Diaz soon.
Yes,
saw that rumored this
that's
week.
That's going to be good. That's going to be a good one.
In MMA.
Just another note, because we were both big proponents of Wilder versus Ngannou. There's some rumors out there that Ngannou might be fighting Derek Chisora. To be an interesting matchup.
Yeah.
More on his level, like what you'd think well, not even that. He's 36-11 or some shit. So been around the game for a while. Ngannou is now 0-1. But put him, that'd be an interesting fight to see. Give him a fight that he can win.
Yeah.
Get a knockout over the likes of Derek Chisora, and then you're firmly in the game.
Yeah, I like this. I like Francis just going in there and just messing up boxing.
Yeah. Actually, we'll talk about that a little bit later because there's some other stuff I wanted to mention about Francis. Before we do get to that, Joshua versus Wallin, another card that's on that same card. Joshua, big favorite, likely. He'll probably make it look difficult, as he always does.
Yeah.
Wallin obviously lost to Tyson Fury in a very convincing fashion by Fury. Joshua just, I don't know, he's not the same since he lost to Andy Ruiz that first time. He's not been the same. He's tentative. He's just not willing to really go out there and try and find a knockout, I find.
Scared. It is. He's a different
Pussy, man.
Pussy. No,
I'm just kidding.
No, you're right.
Hands up. Put your hands up. Sorry, Anton.
Sorry, mate.
Why are we just ripping on Anthony's? Anthony Smith? Anthony Joshua?
Anthony Smith, though, the backup fighter. That guy. That's who you're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Moving on.
So Joshua Wallin, that should be interesting. Money's on Joshua by decision. Maybe a knockout in the later rounds. Joshua is obviously a really good fighter. There's some really good fights on that undercard too. Dubois is fighting. Who else? Let me just pull that up again. Bivol's fighting. Obviously, that's a good one. That's actually a boxing card that you want to watch the whole thing of, which is good. fingers crossed they don't make us wait 3 hours in between fights.
Oh, I hope they do.
You like that, do you?
Oh, I love it.
You like that?
Oh, I'm a big boxing fan, and that's why. Because I don't actually enjoy fighting at all. I just like the rap music and
Yeah,
the
that's why we made
celebrity
this podcast.
appearances, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And all the
Same here,
Saudi
mate.
princes.
Yeah, I love Saudis.
I've got a thing for them.
Does
Big
he?
time.
Look at his little.
I go rowdy for a Saudi.
It's a good one. I
Thanks,
like
mate.
that. But yeah, I mean,
That's an original.
it's a good
too.
card. It's a good card. It really is. What else can you say about it? Excited, ready to spunk. So next
Hell
up,
yeah.
that is Fury and Usyk was announced officially for February. Announced.
Announced.
Um,
Yeah, that's good.
yeah. Thank God that's finally happening.
Yeah, it needs to. It's so funny that he was so sure he was going to be fighting him in December because, Francis was no big deal. And we were we were kind of siding with him at that point. But it's good that he's finally booked against Usyk.
Yeah, finally. Honestly, this is the fight that boxing hardcores have wanted to see for the last 3 or 4 years since the final fight. Well, kind of since Usyk's Joshua experiment. He went the way that it did. This is the fight that everyone wants to see. They're the two best guys. They've got all the belts. This will unify the championships. Should have happened sooner. Fury seems pretty confident, but he seems pretty angry. Like some of the press conferences, he's been like talking. He seems angry. Like less, usually he's quite chill.
Yeah.
He's more like jokey. He seems like angry.
Oh, that's
I think
not
it's
good.
It's probably because of his last fight.
Tyson, buddy, just take a couple of
Just
deep
calm
breaths. Couple of deep breaths.
Breathing
in and out.
exercises.
Breathing exercises help. This has been a really weird episode so far.
All our episodes are getting weirder though.
They are.
It's good. It's more unique.
I think it's because we're like
We're way more comfortable.
The first few we're like, oh, but people are going to be watching, and now we're like, no one's watched.
Yeah. Well, I think we're just used to because people have mentioned like the weird stuff that we've done. Like Jacob Reed, shout out. He mentioned that Spleen Dino and the Turbo Spleen. He mentioned that we mentioned Big Mike because your head was covered by the Big Mike.
Yeah.
He was like, oh yeah, and I was like, he said he didn't think you'd get the reference, like the Stormzy reference. Did you get that?
No.
Okay, right. And I was like, I thought you did.
I've been listening to grime lately though.
Oh, good man.
I'm getting into it.
That could be the thumbnail.
Yeah, thumbnail. You guys just witnessed that. It's a thumbnail. What's happening?
Thumbnail. Nail.
Nail.
What were we talking
With dog
about? No,
cheese.
yeah, we're getting a bit goofy. But
Usyk versus
Usyk,
Fury.
so what's your initial prediction for that one?
I'll be honest with you. I haven't seen an Usyk fight ever. I've been honest about this before, but I'm not a big boxing guy.
Yeah. He's good.
I need to get more into my boxing. I have no doubt that he's good. He's obviously good. But yeah, I've seen a few Tyson Fury fights, and I really enjoy the way that he fights. I think that's always a lot of fun.
He is. Yeah,
And he brings out the fight in everyone. Do you know what I mean?
He does. Yeah, he's a tough guy.
He's dancing around.
Dances around, gets his belly out. He's always got
Oh,
I'm a fat man. I'm a fat man, and I'm gonna knock you down.
Is that how he says it?
Kind of. No, yeah, Usyk. Yeah, just a wee. Bro. He came up from cruiserweight, which is below heavyweight, I think, unless I'm getting that wrong. He dominated at cruiserweight, moved up, beat a couple guys at heavyweight, beat Joshua twice, pretty convincingly. And then he fought Daniel Dubois, who's on this card as well. Not the Usyk card, but the Joshua one. Yeah. And that was actually quite controversial. Dubois hit him with a shot to the stomach, but it was like kind of on the belt line.
Right.
You can't hit below the belt in boxing, obviously. And the referee said that it was below the belt. But then people reviewed it, and it was kind of like, was it below the belt? It was pretty dubious. It was pretty Dubois. Yeah. So, yeah, people were a bit, but I think general consensus is it was below the belt.
People were a bit.
Oh, you need to be watching.
Yeah.
Watch on YouTube. That's where we get money. We don't get any money, but that's where we might be able to get money at some point.
Yeah. Bloody hell.
Take that back. It's not about the money.
Never
So
been about the
initial predictions. I really think Fury's going to do this. I think he's going to get it done. Much bigger than Usyk. He's, when he's on his game, he's the best boxer in the world. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, hopefully he trains for this one. It didn't look like he'd done much of that for the last fight.
Didn't look like that at all.
So I think this fight against Francis, the narrow victory, will probably light a fire under him that will help in preparation for this fight.
I 100% agree.
It's tricky for me to make a call on who wins this. Just
fuck all.
Yeah, I know absolutely next to nothing.
And not just about boxing, just about anything.
Yeah, just in general.
Just in general. He's only 5 years old.
Yeah.
He doesn't know much. He's still in preschool, so he's learning.
5 3/4.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Hi, Mum.
Hey guys, thank you very much for watching this short episode of Combat Corner.
If you like what you see, we've got lots of long form content below and lots of other videos like this, so feel free to go along and check it out. We really appreciate all your support. Thanks again for watching.
Thank you very much. Like, subscribe, comment, share it around. Have a good day.
Peace.